Volodymyr Zelensky makes a very, very dangerous speech in Munich. And what's sad is that the whole world missed it because we think of him as a clown. What can he really do? This is good for thought. Let's get into it.
Good for thought.
What up, everybody? I'm gonna give all the shout outs at the end of the video. You're welcome for me for not showing my face yet again. I just wanted to do this video real quick. I wanted to do it yesterday after I seen the speech by Volodymyr Zelensky, or Zelia, as my fellow Ukrainians call him. But right now I want to talk to my fellow Americans and especially my fellow Europeans also. I really want everyone to pay attention because we have been drawn this picture, which is 99% true, that Zelensky is just this clown. He's taking orders from we know who. Look, in this video, I don't want to break down whose fault it is, what's going on, like in the background, like who this, who that. I just want to make this video by pointing out one thing that yet again, Americans and Europeans, they don't understand Ukraine. It was hilarious, but also very sad when Zelensky supposedly basically said that Ukraine is part of Europe and yada yada yada. I'm an American Ukrainian, but my fellow Ukrainians have been fed with these lies for the past 20 plus years, and especially from 2014, that look, you are a part of Europe, but the fact remains a fact. The West will never, ever, ever feel that Ukraine is Europe. They will always secretly look at us as Russians or Ruski. And that will never change. It's something inherent. And again, when I say the West, I'm talking about the psychopaths that we let them run things. I'm not talking about the population. Again, this message is for the population because I believe in you, population. I believe that we can speak up. I believe that we can, little by little do something instead of turning our backs. And it's so sad that we as the United States of America have become a fallen society. And what do I mean by that, man? Well, look, for a couple decades, they can tell you that, there's like 30 plus genders and kids can get mutilated and stuff. And then all of a sudden someone comes along and says, look, it's not a good idea. And everybody's like, oh yeah, it's not a good idea. It's a failed society when everyone is forced to go and take a shot in their arm. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, well, look, it was all a lie. And everybody's like, oh, it was all a lie. Okay. A bunch of drones flying around. And it was the FAA. Okay, it was the FAA. Ukraine, poor Ukraine. Everyone put your blue and yellow flags up. Everybody puts up their blue and yellow flag. It's a failed society. We have become a failed society, and this goes for the whole West, for the whole Western quote-unquote civilization. Why? Because I keep stressing this in all of my videos, is that, if you look at the world, it's two polar differences, the way the powers that be control societies in the East as opposed to in the West. Because in the West, all of you have been taught to trust authorities way too much, and this is why we became a failed society. And look, I'm never telling anyone to go and protest or commit revolutions. I want us to commit a spiritual revolution by uniting and being more responsible for our communities, for our surroundings. If you're someone that believes in the government and believes in the higher state, well, look, then you got to help them out. You can't just be closing your eyes and one minute you click the channel and it's Ukraine is good, the next channel channel Ukraine is bad, and you're going back and forth, like, because so please be informed, be more educated. And this leads me to the point that I wanted to make all along, is what everyone missed about Volodymyr Zelensky. Is he a cokehead, a clown, what I'm saying, a puppet? Like, does he work for the British Crown? And then, for people that are around that, yes, 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 yes. But that's not the point. The point is that Europe and the United States, they don't understand Ukraine, and they don't understand just the level of lawlessness. But going back real quick, because I had a moral little story to the whole thing, that we surrender our power too much. We just close our eyes. Is the same thing happened now, with Ukraine, and this is very important. Look at what we did, right? And we're doing the same thing with like migrants and stuff, right? Like, and we blame it on the last administration, like, oh, it's their fault, and the new guy comes in and he's like, all right, well, let's do something different, and now it's okay. Look, all of you Westerners and all of you Americans, and I want to talk to the Black Americans especially, if you're blaming people from the past for such things as slavery and everything, well, look, the higher ups, they pass the law, but guess who imposes those laws? The population themselves, and we are doing it now. So basically, America has become the white man of the world, basically, quote unquote. Right now, I'm trying to give you a metaphor, right? To every American, to all, if you are against such things as colonialism and slavery and things like that, and you always say, well, look, it was the evil white man. Well, now you have become that evil white man, because you're turning on your back, because 5 minutes ago, the last administration was like, continue the war, and let's blow up Nord Stream, and let's drag Russia further into this war. We're almost on the brink of World War III, and help Ukraine, give them all these weapons. And now it's like, oh, well, no, actually, no, Ukraine, it was your fault all along. And obviously, people that know anything, they knew that this was the case, that the war didn't happen of what they were presenting to us in mass media. But what I'm trying to say is, right now, you think, oh, we got over Zelensky. It's not over Zelensky that you got over. You got over the Ukrainian people that are still there. Because what everyone missed from that speech is, he's saying, I don't want to give up power. I want this thing to continue, and we're all closing our eyes, and we don't know what's going on in Ukraine. And it's crazy in Ukraine. Men have to hide. Now they're going to pass the law where 18-year-olds can go into the army, and women and such things. It's a concentration camp, man. And we're allowing this guy to basically said, because he looked, what I seen in him and what I heard from him, and he's like, I'm not letting this go. He's talking this, Europe this and America that. And while we, thank God that the war is about to be over, this guy does not want to let go of power. So he's going to do crazy things now. You have to remember, it's so, shout out to my boy David Voronyuk when he sent me that a law, been passed in Ukraine, and like, it reminds me of how much I cannot explain to Westerners, just that there's basically no law in Ukraine. Men are getting snatched off streets. People are getting executed just for their opinion. Neighbors are turning in neighbors. Family members are turning in, like, it's, it's bunkers out there, right? And it looks like this guy, he's gonna leave, but he's gonna slam the door. And for how long can this continue, especially if Europe says, well, we're gonna give that guy whatever, whatever we have left. Look, the higher ups they have already divided the land, they have already divided the resources. Everything that we get presented is basically 10% of what's actually going on. But what I am saying, someone that was raised in Ukraine, someone that is in constant contact and communication with my people over there, is we as Americans and we as Westerners need to stand up and say, look, we're not going for this again. We're not a failed society. We're not just going to let you say, look, dump all the evils on the previous administration and say, well, now we're going to kind of, whatever, we're going to do what's good for us. And F those people. We drag those people into the war, man. We dragged a whole, as a society, we drag a whole portion of the world into this. And now we're just turning our backs. We're like, screw it, whatever. We're doing the same thing with migrants, man. All those million migrants were, the door was open, telling them, look, you're welcome. Come on in. Millions of people went through the Darien Gap and rode the Beast, which is this crazy train in Mexico, and did all kinds of things to come here. And now we're like, well, it was the last administration. Sorry, man. You're out of here, man. And plus, you're gonna spend some time in Guantanamo Bay. I'm not arguing right now, if migration at that rate is good or bad. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that us as a society, we can't just say, okay, well, it was that guy's fault, and now we'll do something else, man. And my bad, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how we should be at. We should be caring for like I said before, for our communities, for our societies, for our children's future. Our children will have to live in this world and will have to reap, what we sow, man. Like, so just, the last thing I'm going to say is, again, I want to emphasize this to the highest of my ability, is that the way that guy is talking, nothing good is going to be happening in Ukraine, at least for some months to come. And I'm the biggest, positive person in the world and everything. And I don't never like to talk about negative things, but this is not as much as, oh, this is negative, this is positive. This is the harsh reality that we co-created in Ukraine, and the people that are left there, they're living with these things. There are mothers that are sitting there shaking and crying because they're afraid if they're going to get that letter in the mail where one of their sons has to be taken, and the son is a provider, and they have other smaller kids, and like, like this, these are real lives, man. There's still millions upon millions of people are there, man. They're afraid to speak. They're afraid to go outside. And this guy is sounding like he's about to go on a rampage, and it seems like everyone is playing it for a joke. Like, haha, he's not gonna do anything. Look, he is, because we don't know what's going on the inside, and it's crazy. It's real bad on the inside, man. And he has seized that much power. He's able to, give those orders within the country, and he will be given these orders. He will snatch up, God forbid, but that's what he sounds like. He wants to just snatch up as many young kids as he can, throw them into the meat grinder, the last of the meat grinder. But look, these are lives being affected. We can't just say, oh, well, it could possibly be over 1 million casualties. Well, another 100,000 won't do. Like, no, we can't. Come on, brothers and sisters, let's wake up, man. And let's realize, let's at least speak about it. Let's talk to each other about it. Let's not be that naive, man. And let's not forget about our fellow human beings. So if I went on a crazy rant, I do apologize. Huge shout out to Romaniya Poet. That book, The Goddess Journey, it's a part of the Journey series, the second edition. It's on Amazon. Please go get it now. In the Time of Raw, NazareN album is out now. Please go get that too. By you getting that, you will be supporting us, supporting the movement. Shout out to Jim Dillinger, David Woronuk, my boy Alpha, our brilliant and amazing Melody, everyone that stops by, leaves a comment. I got so much love for all of y'all, and you know what we say, this was good for thought. Uno.